Antebellum, goodbye town. Well, that's what these guys said for a day anyway. They said goodbye to their towns and went on the honor flight to our nation's capital. I bet they had a terrific time. That was a little emotional too. And we're going to find out about it today here on our AM Minnesota show. In fact, I got an application to be a guardian right in front of me. I'm gonna get that accomplished. Dr. Roy Anderson's with us. He actually produced this show, folks. I did really no work at all. Right, Doc?
You did a lot of work.
No, you did all the work, but I appreciate you doing it too. You got Wayne Wincham to come in, Cliff Boxland from Kenyon Way to come in. Wayne, you're from here in town, right?
Right, exactly.
So I thought. So we're going to talk about the Honor Flight program in a moment, but first of all, Dr. Roy Anderson, how did you learn about this?
Well, my brother lives in northwestern Wisconsin, and he went early in the summer with a Duluth hub. There's 3 hubs in Minnesota, Duluth and Minneapolis and Rochester. So he had such a great time that I just had to apply.
So a veteran from here could actually go on either the Rochester or the Twin Cities flight, right?
Yeah, it's about a 70-mile radius around the hubs. And, you know, like Minneapolis goes over into Wisconsin, too.
Yep, and I know La Crosse has a hub, too.
Mm-hmm.
For those in far southeastern Minnesota could go out of La Crosse.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Which is probably a little easier in the airport, that in Rochester, than Minneapolis St. Paul International.
That's very true.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So do you get bussed up to the airport, too? How does that work?
No, there's 9 of us from Faribault, and we each had to have a guardian, and we decided that we'd see about getting a van, and Mike Brown of Harry Brown's Automotive was good enough to provide a van. There were 4 trips involved, and so we found drivers from our own group and went that way.
So these guys were on the same flight with you, Roy?
Oh yes, yep.
You guys are all on the same flight?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So who is your guardian?
Lou Stender was a former warden of the prison.
Great guy.
Yeah, great guy.
Used to go to my church.
I got a little background on the honor flight here. It started out in Springfield, Ohio. There was a man by the name of Earl Morse, M-O-R-S-E. He was a retired Air Force man and a physician's assistant and a private pilot. And he was visiting with a Mr. Loy, a patient at the VA Medical Center there in Springfield, and that was 2004, and the World War II Memorial had just opened up, and so Earl talked to this fellow and said, "You should go to see that," and he broke down and cried. He says, I can't afford it, and I would have to have help." And he says, "I'm going to fly you to D.C." And he did. Next thing, he had 11 more pilots that did that. Each took one. And from there, they morphed into the airlines. And so that's how it went. There's been 180,000 vets that have been on flights. There's 131 hubs in 45 states. And some 20,000 on waiting list. And World War II, Korean vets, and they're morphing into Vietnam vets now, because we're losing so many of the others. But Twin City hubs had this is our 19th flight, and there's a number of people to thank. Jerry and Jana Kaiser, the spark plugs in this Minneapolis chapter, and they must devote all their time to that. And then we also have Bruce and Sherry Sexton, and Sherry was very good about answering questions that we would have. And there is a back to Korea possibility too. If anybody wants to go to Korea, Korean government will pay for that flight over there and accommodations. You don't need any money.
To Korea, you said?
Yes. And Art Sorgatz went, and he had a great time. It was at 507-362-8331. And
So when did you serve, Roy?
51, 52. Got in through the Guard. I just want to thank there's local people that helped. We had an ad hoc committee to get this logistics. And
I got to take a break here, Roy, and then we're going to come back. We got to get that opening market report, or Jerry will no longer let me live. Profit potential. Contact Keith Allen at Hay Creek Ag Services and Northland Buildings for quality post-frame construction. Check them out at their website, northlandbuildings.com. AM Minnesota continues our conversation about the honor flights right after this.
Hey, don't we need a newer, bigger Nico grain dryer this year to dry that crop? Let's go to Brasov Structures in Geneva.
Hey, this is Save with Dave from Broskoff Structures. Call or come in and talk to Travis or Shannon today about a different grain dryer. 507-256-7501. 256.
In on AM Minnesota today, Dr. Roy Anderson is with us. He helped line up the show. A couple of his flight mates who went on an honor flight to our nation's capital are with us, Wayne Windjam and Cliff Boxland. And you were in the middle of thought there, Dr. Anderson, when I had to interrupt.
I just wanted to thank a number of people that were very instrumental in getting this going. Jane Hillesheim is here. I'd like to have her pop in and say something here before we leave.
She's going to take some pictures, I guess. I didn't tell her I break cameras, so hopefully you were the only guys in the picture.
And we also have Shirley Rost, the wife of Norm Rost, and Shirley Norgard, wife of Glenn Norgard, helped also. And the drivers for the van were George LaRoche, young George, and Lou Stender, and Larry Tweet was our backup man. And so
some great people there.
Yes, I enjoyed the Korean Memorial. The expressions on their faces was just terrific. And I've done a lot of talking, and let's turn it over to these guys.
We'll get to know the other gentleman here first. We're going to get to know, let's see, Cliff Voxland. Cliff, I just need you you can pull that microphone over by yourself there, Cliff.
Okay.
Thanks for coming in. You're from Kenyon, right?
And I was going to give you the names of the ones from this area that went.
Oh, sure.
Of course, Roy Anderson was the one that got it going.
He's the leader of the pack. I think that's a song.
And Bob Applegren, Roger Koopmans, George LaRoche.
Well, Roger's a cool dude too. You had a fun flight.
Yeah, and Glenn Norgard, Norman Rost.
And he's a card.
Donald Sitka, and Cliff Boxland, and Wayne Windjam.
Got to go on that flight together.
Yeah.
So what was it like, Cliff? What was it like for you?
Oh, I really enjoyed it, yeah. And my daughter went with me, so that made it a lot easier. You need somebody to look after you so you don't get lost someplace.
Dr. Anderson's taking a picture of me. You're going to break that camera down.
Yeah.
I'm a man of adventure.
Now, you have a fan, Cliff, who emailed me the other day and said that you are 90 years young.
Yeah, that's right.
And that you fit perfectly into your uniform at a recent Veterans Day observation or something at your church.
Yeah, I wore it to church. I almost felt like putting it on today, but
that would have been cool.
Yeah.
So 1948 is when you got out of the service?
Well, see, I had a special deal when I went in.
Sure.
My brothers were in, and they were going to be coming home. The war was just finished, and the Army came out with such a good deal. If you signed up for 18 months, you got the full Bill of Rights. So I really needed something so I could get to go to school. So
sure.
I signed up as soon as I could and got going. And I went to basic training in Aberdeen Proving Grounds in Maryland. And then I got separated from all my ones from this area, and it got to be all people. Boy, they were all a year younger than me. Most of them were 2 years younger, and we ended up going up to the Aleutian Islands. And the fellow next to me here was in Iceland, so we probably
Cross paths.
yeah. But you'd think that Iceland, I don't know, you were a lot colder weather than we were at. Usually stayed, pretty good. It really, it's surrounded by water, all of it, and actually straight north of the Hawaiian Islands. So it isn't so cold there as you'd think it would be, but never got very warm either.
No.
So it stayed around 40 a lot.
So what'd you do in the service?
It didn't do much. But I was out in the ammunition dump, and so we had to keep checking the ammunition, serial numbers on it, see that it was still good. And then we took a big barge load of ammunition that was outdated, and we took it out. They had a long cable and a boat pulled us way out in the ocean, and we dumped it. I think afterwards they decided we shouldn't have done that.
Oh my. Still sitting at the bottom of the ocean there.
Yeah.
Wayne Windjam is with us as well, and we chatted a little bit before going on the air, Wayne, about the fact that, as Cliff said, you were stationed in Iceland. Obviously you didn't ask for this gig, right?
No, I didn't, but he mentioned, Cliff mentioned about it was awful cold up
Yeah.
there, but it really is not that cold because it's got ocean currents and stuff along there that if it did snow in the winter time, why it didn't last very long. It was just sort of like here in the March type of thing when 2 days later and you're back to the ground again. But there isn't much grass up there neither, and I didn't see any trees while I was there. So, but there's glaciers and all that kind of stuff up there. But it was a educational thing for me because we were pulled guard duty basically for everybody. That it was a naval air base up there, and Air Force was there, and the Army had 4 barracks there, 4 companies, and we just pulled guard duty and 8, I guess, is what we're all about to do. And we played little pinocchles up between our 4 hours off or rest, but it was a good time. It was it only lasted me 363 days, and then I was out. But
So you were you served during the Korean War era.
yes, it was in the Korean War, but it was at the end of the Korean War. After I graduated, I went a year of school, then I signed up to go to in the service, and that was in 54 to 56. I was out, end of 56. And I went to Leonard Wood for basic, and then I went to Fort Sill down there for artillery, and that they had an honor guard outfit down there in Fort Sill that lost all of its company there. At one time they retired, or not retired, but got out of the service, and they moved our whole bunch over there. So you pulled, it was an honor guard outfit, a lot of spit and polish, and you put seminars and stuff out for dignitaries or something coming in by the planes, or you went out in the field there's an officers training school there that we showed different formations and how things work, so they know how to the procedure to handle the platoons and the companies and all the rest of stuff in field stuff.
So your daughter was your chaperone on your flight?
Yes.
Your guardian, I guess they call
Well,
it.
either way, daughter and guardian was kind enough to ask me if I would like to go on this thing, and I said I'd be more than happy to.
And I'll bet it was more special with your daughter with you.
Oh yes, very well, very well. We had a good time, and very enjoyable. It was a fast day, but and a sort of a long day, but it wasn't that long when you stopped to figure everything we had to do and get into that length of time for to see all of the memorials and stuff that are there. It was really something. Really.
So what memorials did you see?
Well, we started off with the women's Air Corps or whatever, and we checked there to see if Liz Strophus was on there, and they checked her, and she wasn't there. But I said, well
Betty
she
Wall
should
was.
be.
Betty Wall probably was.
Well, no, they didn't even have that either. So I thought to myself, I said, I thought they should have her on there because she's the one who was instrumental in letting women be buried
Yeah, for sure.
at the cemetery there. So,
Mm-hmm.
but that didn't happen. But then we went to the Air Force, and then we went to the Korean one, and then we went to the Lincoln Memorial, and then we went to the changing of the guard. So it was a full day, and we went to the Lincoln Memorial was quite nice, and you could see from there almost you could see the Capitol, and you could see around the area quite well that everything that was on there. But
Washington Monument.
yes. And like Roy said, the Korean one, that was very. Every place you went, you seemed to be looking at them, or they looking at you. It was very. That was another one that I enjoyed very much.
Yeah, you want to introduce us to your daughter?
Well, Jane was my guardian, and she did a fine job and kept me going and called me. We started at 3 o'clock in the morning, and we got home around 11 o'clock. So it's a
3 o'clock
it's a long
in the
day.
morning?
Yeah, it's the longest.
Actually 2:30.
Oh my word!
And the thing of it was,
You slept on the flight.
not really. You don't have time. Everybody's talking and talking about their experiences and where they've been and what they did and all of that stuff. And so, but it's the earliest I've been up in a long time, and got up in the morning, and even coming home at night when I was younger was a little bit early for that too, or late in the
I remember
morning.
your daughters.
Yeah.
Gordy, we had mail call. It was terrific.
Mail
These
call.
guardians, like Jane, had contacted our friends and relatives around the nation, Bethlehem Academy, Roosevelt
cool.
School, and we had, I think it was over 100 letters that we got to open up on the flight.
Oh, that was awesome.
Yes, I didn't, not to interrupt here, but anyway, I didn't, Jean said to me, she said, you read the letters on the flight? I said, no, I'm going to wait until I go home, because it's a little tearful with some of them.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yep. It does pull
Yeah.
on the heartstrings, doesn't
Yeah.
it? Jane, if you could pop in here for just a minute. And tell me what it's like being a guardian, because I've got the application right here. I'm going to send it in, because I want to do this guardian thing.
Yeah, it's just fantastic. There's no greater honor, to be along and honor the service that they provided for our country. They're away from their families. They're very humble guys. They just don't feel like they've done anything, and they've left their life to serve our country, and it's the least we can do is spend the day and show them around the Capitol. Dad's never been to Washington D.C. and it was very special.
Had you been there before?
I have, yeah. One time it was a very quick trip.
Well, this was a quick trip.
Yeah, and it was a gorgeous day. It could not have been a more beautiful day. 72, partly sunny, nice breeze. It was
Oh, great.
Yeah.
it was unbelievable.
Well, that is, because
Yeah.
there's no guarantee that you're going to have
No,
good weather.
no.
Jen, maybe,
Great.
excuse me, would you want to read the
So what
Guardians that we
specifically
had?
did the guardian do, Jane?
We just kind of organized a few things, like Roy said, the mail call and seeing who wanted to be up at night and greet them on the way home through the airports. I think that was kind of a surprise when we walked through the airports to see how many people just come and clap, and there's bands playing and shaking their hands, thanking them for their service, and it was a wonderful experience. It was phenomenal. But the other guardians I went with was, like Roy said, was Lou Stender for him, Bob Applegren's son-in-law Scott, Roger Koopman's son Glenn, George LaRoche's son George, Glenn Norgard's daughter Cheryl, Norm Ross' son Scott, Don Stika's son Greg, Cliff's daughter Kathy, and then myself. So it was a great group.
Awesome experience. Now, the guardians have to pay for their way, right? $500.
Yep,
The vets get flown, as it should be, for free.
absolutely. Yep.
All meals, do you have good meals?
Yeah, they were good. We had a breakfast sandwich on the way there, and we had a box lunch provided by Arby's, right underneath the beautiful steel arches of the Air Force Memorial. And dinner was a buffet meal at a restaurant. But we were lights and sirens the whole day. It was nonstop, just how it should be through the whole town. There was 4 buses, and yeah, it was phenomenal. Highly recommend it.
Okay, and people can just go on the website here if you'd like to be a guardian. Honor Flight Twin Cities. Send it to Jerry Kaiser. Attention Guardian application 2674 MacUbin Street. That's MACKUBIN Street, Roseville, Minnesota. The zip code 55113. I think I have that up on our website, that information. So, Cliff,
I could say one more thing.
I just need you to buy that microphone over there. Nope.
Now, one more thing. You were up at Iceland, you see. It's probably about the same as where I was on ADAC up in the Aleutians. But on the way up there, they had a rumor going on the boat that it'd be so glad, it'd be so nice when you get there, there'll be a woman behind every tree. And that's probably the same way up where you went. And when you got there, wasn't a tree on the island. So that didn't work out so good.
No, I don't suppose there were a lot of ladies in Iceland either, I'm thinking. So were you married when you were serving? I mean, did you have a child back home or anything?
No, I wasn't married at the time. I got married in '58, so it was a couple years after I got
Did you know your wife at the time? Or
Yes, I did.
So you wrote to each other?
Yes, we had a good time. I wrote a lot of letters.
No, people don't write letters anymore.
Well, no, they got the idiot thing with them, whatever it is.
Computer.
I love what he called that. Your favorite memorial was?
Well, to mine, I think was the Lincoln Memorial.
Okay. Cliff, what was your favorite monument?
I like to go to Arlington Cemetery, actually, and see that.
That's pretty emotional,
Yeah.
yes. And how about you, Doc?
Well, the Korean War Memorial, I would like to add that we had a couple sisters who were Red Cross nurses that were with us, and we had a couple that were both vets that were with us as well. And there was another woman who was dressed like a working person, and she had worked in a war plant at Holman Field in South St. Paul, and she was a Rosie the Riveter. I mean, it was,
Boy, but that was interesting.
yes, it was.
So come on now. You usually take a nap during the day, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Did you get a nap at all on this day?
No, I was up 22 hours without any sleep.
Did you think you could do that?
I
I don't
didn't-
think I could
didn't
do that
think
at
so.
my age, to be honest.
Well, we were so keyed up all the time and so much going on that you just couldn't rest.
Yeah, that'd
You
be
didn't
quite
think of
interesting.
any sleep.
Pardon?
I said you didn't think about sleeping all the time we were gone.
Yeah, I suppose. But I don't have to think about sleep to sleep. You know,
I don't
There's
either,
the
really.
schedule
I
right
just
there.
sit in a chair nowadays, turn on the TV or something,
Yeah.
bam, I'm out within a couple of minutes.
I am
So
too.
I can't imagine going a whole day without sleeping. A wink.
Yeah.
It took all week to next week to get
Yeah,
back
yeah,
in shape.
to recuperate. You bet. So what branch did you serve in?
Army medical. I was in Korea.
Well, that makes sense. Dr. Roy Anderson would be in the medical, wouldn't he?
We had helicopters flying patients in, and then we would we had 3 doctors in a little clinic and a dentist, and we had problems that were worse than we could handle. We'd helicopter ambulance to the MASH hospital right behind
Sure.
us. But it was a very interesting experience for me because I was 19 years old and I had charge of 40 men in this medical outfit. So you kind of grow up fast there.
You still keep in contact with any of those guys?
No, we were talking earlier how in World War II, those guys, well, women too, would serve 3-4 years with the same unit.
Yep.
But, like I was only overseas a year, so you don't keep in touch that much.
No. Did you keep in touch with anybody?
I do. I have a friend that was when I went in basics with him. We went to Fort Sill. He was a gentleman, he lives in Fredonia, Kansas, or did have, lived there, but he was a highway cop and retired now. I do contact him once in a while just to see how he's doing. But.
Yeah, that was Wayne, by the way. And Cliff, how about you? You keep in touch with anybody? I suppose being 90, most of your peers are kind
Others
of
are
gone.
gone.
Yeah.
But they were, I got separated from my regular ones I really signed up with in Minnesota, and I ended up with kids from New York State and around Boston and Detroit. So it was kind of a different kind of a bunch, but they were fun.
So was your favorite part of the day when you came home to this homecoming party, or was it the being in our nation's capital and seeing the memorials and monuments?
Well, they were both really good. I really enjoyed the trip, But I like to see all those memorials too. I'd seen a lot of them before, but when you're in a group like this, it's a little different.
Oh yeah, when you've all had the experience, you can relate
and when
to
we
each other.
got there, the first person we seen and shook hands with was Al Franken.
Oh, I thought you were going to say President Trump.
Yeah, I was looking for Trump, but he wasn't there.
He wasn't.
No.
So did you guys you had to have Spam for lunch or something, didn't you?
Spam? No.
You didn't have Spam?
No spam.
Oh my word. You ate some Spam.
They had turkey.
They had
turkey. Arby's turkey, yeah.
Oh, I'll be doggone. Yeah, I only got a minute or so left in the show. If you'd like to donate, folks, 501c3 organization, it's tax deductible honor flight. We would recommend that you it's a worthy cause, isn't it, Doc?
It is. It really is. And Americans are a patriotic people, and they have a long waiting list of folks that are ready to step forward like Jane did.
Yeah. So I'm going to be on a long waiting list.
Yeah, I was on about 2 years, I think, before I got.
Wow, 2
my
years.
name was John.
Okay. Well, I'm good. Good to know.
You got to know the right people. I go to the pool with Roy, and he kept telling me I should go and sign up for it, and I didn't think I should do that, and he kept on, and he wouldn't give up. Finally, I signed up and went.
And you don't regret it?
No, and when I signed up, I was really too late. So they said you're on the waiting list, and enough people dropped out.
Well,
so
plus
you're
at your age, I'm sure hoping that they'd punch you ahead of some other people.
Yeah.
I mean, no offense, but you're 90 years
I think they did that.
young. Looks like you'd probably live another 100 years.
He never used a wheelchair in Washington.
I believe it. He moves
I think
well.
he's the only one.
Yeah, Cliff is in good shape.
My legs got tired going up and down those
my
steps.
legs get tired going up and down steps. Hey, thanks, Wayne. Appreciate it.
Have a great day.
It was sure nice having you guys on. Roy, thanks for doing the whole show, basically. And thanks to Jane for coming in, too, telling us about being a Guardian Honor Flight, folks. Terrific experience, I'm sure. I'm looking forward to it. KDHLAM, Faribault, Minnesota.